A sharp burn seared my shoulder. His claws had brushed me, and my breath caught before I could pull away. He loomed over me, half man, half wolf, wild, impossible, alive in ways I wasn't meant to touch. Fear tangled with desire, each heartbeat a warning I might not survive the closeness. The forest held its breath around us. Every movement, every shiver sent ripples through the bond, unseen, merciless, demanding more than I could give. Tomorrow, the bond will flare hotter, and what it demands won't let either of us escape unscathed. I reached toward him, fingertips brushing the wild heat of his skin, daring him to surrender, or flee into the shadows. This is Bound to Blood and Moonlight, a good werewolf romance. As always, I read for you, and you enjoy the plot. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Let us read. Chapter 25. Damien saves her, but almost destroys her. The scream tore through Damien like a blade to the chest. He didn't run. He launched. Skidding into the clearing, his half-shifted form cracking along his spine, he hit the wet earth hard. The two rogues were framed in a crimson-tinted vision, their movements sluggish, almost dreamlike, as they closed on Leora's prone figure. His wolf, usually a quiet shadow inside him, erupted. It took control of his limbs in a surge he barely resisted. Panic at losing her solidified instantly into razor-sharp focus. His eyes caught Leora's wide, terrified gaze. Stay back. Gold burned too bright in his irises, too wild. Could he hold the animal long enough to put himself between her and the danger? The nearest rogue lunged at her. Damien didn't leap. He was already there. He caught the creature mid-air, snapping its neck in a single brutal motion. Bones cracked under his grip. The sound was horrific, intimate. The lethal focus that had driven him evaporated immediately, replaced by sick, horrified awareness. He looked down at the limp body, his hands still gripping, still ready to crush. And with dread, he realized, he barely remembered moving. The wolf had chosen the kill. It had applied the force without his conscious consent. The instant between seeing Leora in danger and eliminating it was a blank, a terrifying crimson gap. How much of him had already vanished? His gaze swept the clearing for the next threat, and landed on her. Leora scrambled away from him, pushing herself back on trembling elbows. Her eyes weren't on the dead rogue. They were fixed on him. Guilt tore through Damien, sharp and sudden, replacing the horror. He had saved her life, and yet she recoiled from the creature he had become. Her wide, frightened pupils reflected not him, but the monster of the wolf. Could he protect her without breaking her in the process? Her rapid, shallow breaths were the only sounds he registered. The remaining rogue darted toward the dense pines. Damien's need to protect Leora was swallowed by vicious frenzy. He lunged. He slammed the rogue into a tree. Bark splintered beneath its skull. The kill was instantaneous, but his claws remained extended, ivory white, curved, glinting faintly in the dim moonlight. The wolf still hungered. It wanted to eliminate every moving thing, even shadows that posed no threat. Staring down at his monstrous, bloody hands, Damien knew. Control had slipped again. What would happen when he turned toward her with these killing tools still unsheathed? A faint, frightened intake of air cut through the ringing in his ears. Leora. His body snapped toward her voice, claws still extended. The bond flared violently, not as guidance, but as raw energy. Her fear poured straight into the wolf, magnified, unfiltered. Her terror fueled his instability. A strange metallic hum vibrated through his ribs, shaking his bones. Was the bond meant to save them, or had it become a fatal flaw? Consciousness was losing the battle, every step, every movement, all of it driven by the wolf inside. Damien's claws shook as they moved closer to her. He tried to retreat, but the animal surged forward instead. The fear coiling in his chest curdled into absolute horror. He was a passenger in his own body, watching his claws approach the only person he cared about. His pupils slit into liquid gold. His breath fogged the cold night air. Stop. Please. Could she see the terror in his eyes? Or only the monster his wolf had made? He advanced, claws out. Yet Leora didn't scream. She didn't recoil. She edged closer, reaching for him. He tried to pull back, but the wolf drove his hand forward. The claws grazed her shoulder. A shallow scratch. But its impact was catastrophic. The scent of blood hit him like gasoline, igniting the wolf's hunger as the bond flared violently, searing his chest. The pain wasn't just physical. It was prophecy burning. The flare drove Damien to his knees. He clutched his head. Agony shredded through him, radiating sharply from behind his sternum, where his wolf lived. He had harmed her. It felt less like consequence and more like the end of himself. How long until the punishment or the wolf claimed him completely? Then the scent of her blood shifted. He braced for recoil, for the final retreat. But Leora crawled to him, ignoring the gore, ignoring his tremors. Her hand touched his arm. The shock of contact transformed blinding agony into fragile, piercing tenderness. The touch calmed the wolf, slowing his ragged breath. Still, Damien tensed, aware of how close he teetered on the edge. Warmth spread beneath her palm despite his cold sweat. Could her unwavering devotion pull him back fully from the brink? The warmth was too much, undeserved. He tore his arm from her grasp and retreated. A fresh wave of blinding shame crashed through him. Pain twisted into raw self-loathing as he stared past her at the carnage surrounding them. He had to pull away. He was a danger to her. When he glanced back, he saw the crimson spreading on her shoulder. It wasn't just blood. The burn glowed faintly under the moonlight, pulsing slightly. Her wound was bond-marked like the old scar on her wrist. Why did it burn like that? Damien's withdrawal stung worse than the scratch. He looked cornered, fixated on the trees rather than her. Fear had faded from his gaze, replaced by tense resolve. She refused to let distance become permanent. On her knees, she inched forward. Her fingertips brushed the dirt where his hand had been. "Damien," she whispered, extending her hand again, stepping into danger consciously. The stinging scratch on her shoulder pulsed, a strange thrum that felt less like pain and more like electrical charge. The forest wind cooled her burning skin, offering fleeting, strange relief. Would he finally collapse into her touch or flee into the night?